Today we're tasting the hibiscus berry green tea 1 year later.
And we have two special guests today. We have Derica's dad, and this is Tigger. Tigger is also known as Daddy's little girl, and she was screaming in the other room, so we had to let her on camera. Get off the laptop.
I'm the dad. That's the
Yeah.
Tigger.
Yeah, in case you were curious
Thank you
about
for
that.
the clarification.
All right, but yeah, this is the hibiscus berry green tea mead. Now, this was made using tea bags that were sent to us by someone, so they were relatively difficult to get. We do still have a few of them, actually.
Yeah.
We've not used them, which is weird. And this one came out at 10%. It was bottled a year and a few days ago. And for some reason, I can't pour and talk at the same time. That seems like a new thing. I don't know. Usually I don't stop talking, so it's a little surprising.
So, coincidentally, we are on tasting number 3, and the very first tasting we did was our hibiscus mead, which is just hibiscus and honey, where this was a hibiscus berry tea and honey. And there is a shockingly dramatic difference between the colors.
Well, this one has berry added to it.
So this is way darker
Oh, yeah.
than
However,
the hibiscus.
crystal clear, not a hint of haze.
And when you put it up to the light, it's that beautiful red jewel tone color.
It looks like red wine, although it's got just a little bit of clarity to it, so you can see through it.
Yeah.
Really nice color. Oh, wow. That's a lovely, lovely
The aroma is really delightful. And
Get all the berry and hibiscus.
It's really interesting to me because the tastings we've had today seem to culminate in this beverage, and that's really interesting. So the first one was hibiscus mead, and the second one was our sack step feed mead, and now we have hibiscus berry. So when I smell this,
You get a little bit of all of them.
I'm getting the more rich honey notes, but I'm getting still the hibiscus notes, and I'm getting berry notes. So,
And I think the tea might have acted as tannins to balance them all out. So this might be really, really good. This was pretty decent when we had it a year ago. I don't remember loving it, but I don't think I disliked it either. But the aroma on this is just really nice and warm.
Yeah.
It's warming.
I'm almost getting a floral note too.
Yeah. What do you think, Terry?
I'm getting happy just smelling it.
Now, I know some people watching this will be like, well, duh, Derica, hibiscus is a flower. When I said that I'm getting
But
a floral
hibiscus
note.
doesn't smell floral.
But it doesn't smell floral. It tends to smell more fruity and citrus. Where in this particular arrangement, I'm getting
I definitely
a
get
distinctive
berry,
flower.
cranberry, and almost orange, I think, is what I'm getting. Anyway, so we're about to do our short sip, which is where you just take a sip, swallow it really fast, and you get an impression, but it also acclimates your tongue to the alcohol and the flavors within.
Did we mention the ABV on this
It
yet?
is 10%.
10%. Okay. So.
I think I did, but it's okay. Oh. Wow. Anybody want to speak up?
That was lovely.
That's really nice.
Smelling it, I get a very distinctive honey note, but tasting it, I get sweetness, but not necessarily honey sweetness.
Right.
It's more a clean sugar sweetness, if that makes sense, where it's just sweet
okay, I see what you
rather than
Fruit sweetness.
Yeah.
What do you get, Terry? What's your take?
It snuck right across my tongue and hit the back of my mouth, and that's where I caught it. My tongue was not bothered.
To me, I get the berry sweetness mixed with honey right away. It's not as viscous as I might like it to be, but it's certainly not watery either. It falls somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Very easy drinking, very fruit forward to me.
Yeah.
The berry comes forward, but that honey comes in. It was such a short sip that I'm not even sure if I got the honey bitterness that I usually get at the end. I'll find out in my long sip.
The short sip was very pleasant and making me really want to take a long sip now.
Yeah. The long sip is when you let it sit in your mouth for a few seconds and really get to experience it fully. It's when I usually make funny faces.
My assistant likes it.
Yeah. Fun fact, Tigger makes faces at me when I drink whiskey. She will go over and smell the glass and literally like smell it, look at me, kind of like, how can you drink this? And then run away.
So long sip, for me, I got more of the sweetness is definitely from honey that I wasn't getting from the short sip. So
Okay.
that clarified that for me. But do you want to go first since I kind of butted in there?
No, it's okay. It's okay. I got the tannic quality of the green tea that time. And I think that added to it quite nicely because it is sweet. But as it enters the mouth, I get that sweetness and the berry punch right away, like a raspberry, blackberry, almost immediately. I don't know what berries they used. It just said berry. So I get raspberry, blackberry right away. Then it turns into honey. And then I get hit with the tannins. And it just kind of cuts through that sweetness really, really nicely, making it a more neutral flavor. But that also makes it taste a little bit more viscous as it stays. And then as I swallow, the berry flavor comes back.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you're saying you're getting the sweetness from the honey, I'm getting it from the berries. And it's okay. Everybody can be different. And as I swallow, it's a little bit of a lingering berry flavor. So the finish on this is a little bit long, which is nice, especially for something that isn't as viscous. Usually the more viscous it is, the longer that flavor lasts. But wow, this time it's coming through nicely. I'm quite pleased with this.
It is nice, and I'm glad that you mentioned the tannin sharpness coming in, but then fading because the very ending note is more of that berry citrus combo for me. It doesn't have that typical
touch of acidity just before the back end too.
Right, that's why I was putting the citrus.
I want to say lemon. I was saying orange before, but I think it's actually more lemon.
So it's really nice because lots of times Mead's, and Brian has mentioned this multiple times, is it has that weird bitter thing.
Oh, I get that too.
That only
very minor.
seems to occur with fermenting honey. But the ending for me on this is more of the berry citrus combo.
I get just a touch of that bitterness. It's not pronounced at all.
But it's for me, it's not the very end. It's before the end.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. What do you think, Terry? Tigger's talking. I don't know if you even heard that.
I don't really have anything to add to what you already said.
Okay.
It is, like you said, it's not strong on honey flavor.
Right. It definitely has more of a berry, and the tea comes through than the honey. I mean, I think the honey is enhancing the berry flavor more so than becoming its own, so they're blended well. It's nicely balanced is what it is.
Yeah.
The acidity, the sweetness, and all the other characteristics all together are really playing off each other quite nicely in this. This actually came out really, really nice.
I guess when I said that I was detecting honey, I might have overstated that. My short sip, the sweetness was just kind of a pure sweetness where I felt like it was more sugar-based, where the long sip, I was getting more of the sensation of honey rather than the flavor of honey. So it was reminding me of the way I like to eat our homemade yogurt is with honey and berries. So I was getting that honey berry combo. And so it was making me think, oh, the sweetness is from berries and honey rather than just generic sugar.
She's just being needy.
She has the needs, and they are many.
Okay, so food pairings.
Fruit, cheese, salad, dessert.
Yeah, I agree. All of those things. Heavy, fatty, rich things like a steak. Like
I could even drink this with pasta.
Yeah, I was just going to say tomato sauce on pasta, meat sauce especially. Your fattier meats, I think this goes really well with. Just for some reason, that little bit of sweetness in the berry seems to make it seem like it would cut through the fat.
I think as is, it could equally replace a table wine
Yes.
as far as pairings go, not as far as
Don't mess up the laptop.
flavor profile goes, just as pairings. Is there anything you could imagine that we haven't mentioned to pair this with as far as food goes?
No, I'll vote for dessert.
For dessert. He's had dessert on the brain, so
As far as cooking with it, all of the aforementioned things, I would also use this in cooking. Like I would pour this over a steak in the pan, were I to eat steak. I would put this in tomato sauce. I would put this in chili. I think this would be wonderful in all of those things. This would also go really well with like enchiladas. It almost has a sangria-like quality
yes.
because of the berries and the fruit. It just really does seem to go well with that sort of thing, I think. A little bit of cinnamon on this, and that would be so good. Anyway, as far as putting it in a mug and drinking it, absolutely. Absolutely. This is so good. As always, we drink these at room temperature so that we get the fullest of the flavors. And this one could benefit by chilling maybe, but I kind of like it at room temperature. I like it here.
If I would chill it, I would just chill it slightly
I would chill it on ice cream.
on ice cream.
Yeah, you could totally pour this
Sure.
over ice cream.
That would work. But yeah, now that Brian's mentioned Mexican food, which is one of my weaknesses, and mentioning sangria, which is another one of my weaknesses, and then mentioning it topped with cinnamon, which sangria with cinnamon, hello, I am very hungry.
Okay, I'll be cooking early today.
I think Mexican food should be called a strength, not a weakness.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, I guess I have to change the menu to Mexican for tonight. Anyway, so we've come to that part of the show where we give it a score.
I have a number.
This
My
is
number's
so
better than
hard.
yours.
Oh, that
This
sounds
is
like a
so hard.
challenge.
I'm still thinking. I'm between a couple. My reasoning is odd, though. All right, I'm going to go with it. No. Okay, I'm going with this one. Are we ready? Everybody got a number?
We're ready.
1, 2, 3.
Nine.
9.5.
So what was
I
your
was
number?
9.5.
9.5. You were the high guy?
Whoa.
Yes.
What the heck? You were low. My number was better than yours.
All right, Terry, you were the low man.
No,
You were the
this
low
is-
man.
low
What
is
is
better.
Low was better? That means you're
What
going
is
to go
your-
first.
This is
though.
like golf.
what is your reasoning behind your score? What did you give it? 8?
8.
What is your reasoning behind the 8?
Because I couldn't say it was any better or worse than the last one we tasted.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fair.
That's
That's
fair.
fair.
And that's
totally
what
fair.
the number I gave
The last one
time.
was the step feed sack meat.
Right.
They were very different from each other, but,
Oh yeah,
but both
Enjoyable.
8.
this is more of a Derica meat.
Yes. Yes. Which is shocking to me that he outbid me in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Though, if you watch our tastings, it's actually very common that he gives them a higher
I
score.
think I like mead more than she does.
than I do. I'm just very critical, I guess.
Sure.
So I give this a solid 9 because for me that means I will keep this in my little memory bank, and when I'm like, oh, I want something to drink with dinner, I will look for that name and go, yep, snag, and pour me a nice wine glass full and be a very happy person. So a 9.
But what would you do to improve it?
What would I do to improve it? Well,
That's what always gets me on the score.
and part of the reason why I gave it a 9 is because Brian mentioned cinnamon.
Oh, you think it needs cinnamon?
Now, I don't think I want to brew with cinnamon because cinnamon is one of those tricky things. There's lots of spices that have antibacterial properties, and if you understand how fermentation works and yeasties, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes adding those antibacterial properties into a brew is going to cause a stall in your fermentation.
You could put it in conditioning.
But you can do it in conditioning, no problem, because once you get to conditioning stage, you should be done with fermentation anyway, so it's not an issue. However, I think I really enjoy, and I'm thinking back on my samplings of sangria at restaurants, particularly Mexican restaurants, where they add the cinnamon on top, is that it's a topping, so it's fresh, and it's not integrated in the beverage. It's more of a separate note, if you will.
Yeah, I get that.
And so I'm looking for that now. But would that...
So had I not mentioned it, you'd have given it a higher score?
Possibly.
So would you put whipped cream and cinnamon on top of your glass or something?
No, it's just cinnamon, not whipped cream.
Just cinnamon.
But whipped cream on anything is good.
You've never had sangria with cinnamon sprinkled on top?
I think you're just trying to tease us with the whipped cream.
No, where's their cinnamon?
There's a Mexican restaurant near us that does that.
Yeah, they sprinkle cinnamon on their sangrias, and
It's amazing.
It's fantastic.
Well, let's do that tonight.
Okay.
Go for it.
Well, if Brian is
Before
changing,
dessert.
I might have to make Mexican.
we're gonna have to make Mexican.
All right. I gave it a 9.5. And let me explain why it's not a 10. The reason it is not a 10 is because you can't get this tea. If this tea were readily available and we could say, go buy this tea, I would say this is a 10. This is, to me, a prime sparkling example of what a mead should taste like. It has honey character, it has the berry flavor, it's sweet without being overly sweet, it's got tannins, it's got mouthfeel, it's got complexity, it's got layers. It's got everything a mead should have.
Sounds like a balance.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is so perfectly balanced between the tannins, the acids, the sweetness. Everything about this is perfectly balanced. I would have given this a 10 if you could actually get the tea and make it yourself. Unfortunately, you can't. And I think we have the only 3 tea bags left in existence.
And when we talk about tea bags, these are the monster tea bags.
Huge. It's ginormous if you watch the original. It's commercial, industrial tea. And it literally was sent to us by somebody in like a group home that they bought it commercially in big bag, and nobody liked it. So they're just missing out because that tea was amazing. You made some just cold, and it was so good.
Yeah.
And then as a brew, this is really good, guys. This is probably in my top 5 now of my favorite brews.
And that is shocking because if you know, this is a Derica wheelhouse beverage, not a Brian wheelhouse beverage.
Yep.
So for Brian to like it and score it that high says a lot about, as Dad said, the balance of this beverage.
Now, I can see putting cinnamon in this. However, my criteria are without changing fundamentally the beverage. I think adding cinnamon to this changes it fundamentally. Sure. Now it's cinnamon flavored berry.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So to me, while that is an improvement, it's now a different brew and something I'd actually like to try, I think. But as it is, this is really, really good. It's just, it ticks all the boxes, everything about it. You know, I like things to have a little bit of sweetness, and this does have a decent amount of sweetness without going overboard on sweetness because that tannic quality brings it right back down.
I'm not getting that, it's too sweet sensation because of the tannins and the acids.
Absolutely. So overall, that's why I gave it a 9.5. Otherwise, this would have been a 10. I just got to say it. And I've given out a couple of 10s, I think. My spiced method blend and my basic mead, I think both of those were 10s. So yeah, for this to be up there with those, you know it's got to be good. But hey, if you like this video, thanks for watching, and look up. There's another video up there. You might like that one too.